Hello everyone and welcome to my General Hospital Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Joss is pursuing Cyrus after Lois reveals the identity of Brooklyn's child. On General Hospital Today, Tracy is upset that Willow left with the children. Danny and Rocco find out the truth about Sam's death. And Willow returns to live with Nina. At the hospital, Curtis meets Portia and tells her that he is there because Trina asked him to talk to her buddy Kai, who is struggling with his injury. In order to work out with his personal trainer today, Brad interrupts to ask Portia if he can go a little earlier. That's not much notice according to Portia, but if he finds someone to cover his shift, it shouldn't be an issue. After saying thank you, Brad leaves. Curtis was perplexed and believed his wife couldn't tolerate Brad. According to Portia, Stella is attempting to give Brad another chance because she seems to like him. Nevertheless, considering everything Brad has done over the years, Curtis believes he needs to talk to him. Even after Portia tells him it's unnecessary, he leaves. Lucas encourages Carly to at least consider what he said about Jack as he leads her to the elevator. Lucas knows she won't back down from meeting Jack, despite her insistence that she's all right. "Can we go to dinner now?" Carly asks. First, Lucas needs to deliver his tablet to the nurse's station. Brad shows Stella his growing biceps there. Lucas remarks that he looks good and that his program is obviously effective. Carly, annoyed, reminds Lucas that they have plans and clears her throat to pull him away from Brad. Curtis approaches the nurse's station and requests a moment from Stella so that he may talk to Brad alone. Curtis asks Brad if he's still working with Selena Wu after she leaves them. Brad maintains that he does not collaborate with his aunt. Curtis is relieved to hear that since he doesn't want his aunt or wife to become involved with him and cause difficulties. Brad pledges that he would never put his second opportunity here in danger. Curtis visits his aunt once more, and Stella thinks Brad has changed for the better and is determined to start over. Brad is told to enjoy the remainder of his day off by Portia. Brad inquires as to if her husband is aware of their arrangement. He doesn't, according to Portia, who advises him to exercise discretion going forward to keep this partnership a secret. Brennan enters Bobby's and takes a seat at a table. He is joined by Joss, who was at the counter. He inquires if she has discovered any evidence connecting Cyrus to Dex's passing. Joss claims that although she believed she had a lead, it didn't work out. She tells him she isn't giving up when he asks her to. Joss reveals that although she broke into Cyrus' home, there were no signs that he even resided there or anything that could be used as evidence. According to Jack, that implies Cyrus is working from a different location. How about a hiding, she asks. How she would discover it is unknown to her. Be patient, he urges, since every criminal leaves a trace. Josh shifts the conversation to her mom. She requests him not to inform her mother about this because she is already under enough stress and knows they are close. Jack claims he won't speak. She wonders what Joss and Jack are discussing when Carly and Lucas walk in. Jack claims that he was discussing the German thermal springs with Joss. Lucas travels with Joss to check if she needs assistance as she resumes her studies. Carly wishes Jack hadn't told Joss about Valentine while she was by herself. She is grateful that he didn't since she doesn't want Joss to be concerned about her. She saved his life, and Jack believes he will always remember that. He relished their time together as well. She believes it will be difficult to surpass Germany's starry skies. That presents a difficulty to Jack. Carly excuses herself to answer her ringing phone. Lucas asks Joss at the counter what's happening with Carly and Jack. Joss says she's on board as long as it's not Sonny. She asks him whether he has ever heard of a Dr. Austin Gatlinholt, as he notices that she is obsessed with looking for Cyrus online. She tells him about the man, who he doesn't know, and that he provided testimony during Cyrus' parole hearing. Joss is cautioned by Lucas not to put herself in danger's path by Cyrus. Joss vows to take no action. When her mother departs to answer a call, Joss runs to Jack. She requests that he ascertain whether Austin purchased or rented a home close to Port Charles at the time Cyrus was released from jail. Jack promises to investigate. Gio arrives at the Coeur d'Alene gatehouse with one of Amelia's toys. Willow brought the children back to Nina's according to Brooklyn, who is still there. Brooklyn acknowledges that she is to blame, and that her attempt to be tough with Willow didn't work out. Brooklyn worries that Willow made things worse, but Gio believes she will change. Even though he adores Brooklyn's family, he acknowledges that they are a lot, and he can appreciate how difficult it could have been for Willow to be here without Michael. Brooklyn chuckles, referring to that as a century's understatement. Gio asserts that Willow is not accountable for her acts because she is an adult. Tracy comes in and inquires as to if Willow and Brooklyn spoke. Tracy wonders where is Willow, as she surveys the area. According to Brooklyn, Willow moved out with the kids after things didn't work out as expected. Tracy chooses to go to the lawyers since she knows this scenario has a limit. Dante and Chase discuss Anna placing him on leave in the kitchen. He is aware that Chase needs a favor and is involved in Sam's investigation. Chase is unable to tell him who the person of interest is, but he has to know. As Rocco enters, he hears Dante pleading with Chase to reveal Sam's killer. He hides in the corridor and watches as Chase warns Dante not to act carelessly and identifies Cyrus as their main suspect. Why would Cyrus want to kill Sam? Dante asks. Chase claims that they have no ulterior motivation, and that he is powerless to act on this knowledge. Dante is aware of this and will not put Sam's right to justice in danger. Tracy walks in, interrupts Chase and Dante, and informs them of what has happened with Willow and Drew. Rocco the spy takes off. Tracy wants the police to investigate whether there are any security holes that Drew could have exploited. The men make the decision to be cautious. Brooklyn and Gio are still in the gatehouse when Dante and Chase arrive. They wanted to discuss how Drew got in with Willow after explaining what they were doing. According to Brooklyn, Dante was prepared for Willow and the children to move away. He claims that the memories prevented him from moving on, which is why he was unable to stay at Sam's. Willow probably felt the same way about Michael. Dante observes that secrets ruin lives as they talk about what Willow and Drew did, and they frequently claim that it's the cover-up, not the crime, that ultimately brings someone to justice. Martin calls Willow in his Metro court chamber to discuss her choice to return to living with Nina. He informs Willow that they will talk later since there is a knock on the door. Lois is the one who says she needs a lawyer badly. She expresses gratitude to him for seeing her here because, since he is Willow's representative, she cannot risk being spotted in his office. Lois relies on him to keep their conversations private. Of course, he replies, as long as she covers his retainer. They start working together when she electronically transfers him the money. This is a sensitive subject, she explains, involving her daughter, and an incident that occurred 21 years ago. Now many people could be harmed if this secret is revealed. She must tell Martin everything in order for him to assist her. Lois explains that she recently discovered her husband is sterile, but she and her daughter are still trying to conceive. According to Lois, her daughter has already given birth. In high school, she gave birth to a child and placed it for adoption. The father, however, was unaware, which is problematic given how close their families are. She discloses that Dante is the father, and that she is good friends with both his mother and her own father. She must ensure that they never learn about this child. Lois continues by explaining that it was a private adoption and that he was put with a relative of hers, someone Brooklyn doesn't know, and someone she was close to. Now Lois inquires as to whether it is feasible for Brooklyn to locate her child. Was it possible for her to unseal the adoption? Another tap on the door interrupts them before they can say anything further. Tracy storms into his room and starts yelling about Willow. She asks why Lois is here and is taken aback to see her. Lois claims that she heard what transpired for the same reason that she does. Martin informs Tracy that her agreement with Willow was not legally enforceable, and that she is solely responsible for Willow's discomfort, which forced her to leave. Lois mouths "I'm sorry" to Martin as they leave, suggesting to Tracy that they do so. Later, Lois comes back without Tracy, says she's sorry, and asks if the truth may be revealed. Martin believes he might request to view the boy's birth certificate now that he is old enough. According to Lois, he is unaware that he is adopted. Martin goes on to say that the adoption agency would have to locate her son, and let him know he was adopted if Brooklyn insisted on finding him. Lois fears that this is impossible, and that it would destroy his entire universe. Is she in contact with this young man? Martin asks. Gio is the son of Brooklyn, and Lois acknowledges that they share a home. Willow acknowledges that Brooklyn was correct about one thing while at Nina's, but she also praises Nina for allowing her stay. She and Drew should never have lived in the same home as Michael. When Drew arrived this morning, she knew she ought to have sent him away, but she was unable to do so. Willow added that she was relieved to see Drew because she had found it hard to get along with the Quartermaines. But once he was gone, she couldn't stop thinking about Michael and how much she still loved him. Since they created a life together and his accident denied her closure, Nina may relate. Being here, according to Nina, will allow her to take a break and concentrate on her next course of action with the children. When Nina answers the door when someone knocks, she sees it's Drew. "Why are you here?" Nina says. According to Drew, Willow texted him to invite him over. Willow excuses herself to turn off the lights and see how the children are doing. Drew puts Willow in danger of losing custody of her children, and Nina snaps at him for it. According to Drew, Willow and the children are important to him. Nina begs him to move to Washington, D.C., for the benefit of everyone. According to Drew, he will take Willow with him if he does. Nina assures Drew that she will stop at nothing to protect her daughter and grandchildren, therefore she is more than willing to engage in combat if he requests it. Willow was telling Nina that she still cares for Michael before he arrived, and Nina informs Drew that he is not taking her daughter anywhere. Willow comes back and requests a private conversation with Drew. After Nina departs, Willow informs Drew that their actions were inappropriate and disrespectful to Michael and the children. He never intended to harm her and he agrees. Willow claims that she is still coming to terms with her marriage's demise. For better or worse, their relationship is real, and if she wants to be with him, they can be together, according to Drew. Nina returns to the room to find them in a deep lip lock after Willow declares her want to be with him and they share a kiss. Nina contacts Carly and tells her that they should finally resolve their shared issue. Danny is perplexed when Alexis, Christina, and Molly sit him down at her house and inform him that the police don't think his mother's death was an accident. According to Alexis, Sam's heart attack was triggered by a substance that the hospital and police suspect was intentionally given to her. "Are you saying that someone intentionally killed my mom?" he says. "Who would act in this way?" According to Alexis, the police are looking into it and they don't know. He is informed by Molly and Christina that Sam wasn't the only victim, and that they must wait for the time being. Danny inquires as to whether Scout will be informed. "How does he feel about that?" Alexis asks. Alexis concurs that they feel the same way, and he believes she is too young to know. Does Danny's father know? Jason may not be aware, according to Alexis. Danny reports that he and Michael are in Germany, and that he should be aware of his return time. Alexis concurs, but adds that they have no business getting engaged in the probe. Molly thinks she should take Danny home because it's late. Alexis gives Danny a farewell embrace. Christina claims Danny handled things better than she had anticipated when he was by himself. Alexis concurs, but acknowledges that it was unnerving that he brought up Jason. Jason is a vindictive person, and Christina isn't shocked. Although Christina is aware that her mother views vengeance as a bad word, not everyone shares her viewpoint. Danny shares his newfound knowledge about his mother with Rocco back at the Quartermaines. According to Rocco, he overheard his father and Chase discussing the case, and they believe Cyrus Renault killed his mother. According to General Hospital teasers, Drew Quartermaine appears to have declared war on Jason Morgan and Sonny Corinthos. He spoke with Anna Devane about the necessity for the Port Charles Police Department to concentrate on organized crime on the Tuesday, February 4th episode of the soap opera, bringing up Sonny and Jason in particular. The discussion seemed like very official governor business, which raises the question of whether Drew simply signed his own death sentence. A corner has been written about Drew Quartermaine. Given that Drew is making enemies at every turn, some GH fans believe that a whodunit plot may be in the works. However, Cyrus Renault appears to be following suit, so would the soap opera choose to take a different approach with Drew? After all, after falling from hero to zero in a few months, Drew is a shell of the person he once was. Is there any chance this character may turn his life around after betraying his closest friend Curtis Ashford, sleeping with his nephew's wife, and luring her mother along with her? It's difficult to say right now. Is Drew's end just around the corner? Jason would want to kill his twin brother for the simple reason that Drew betrayed Michael Corinthos by having an affair with his wife Willow Tate Corinthos, but learning that he is using his position as governor to put him and Sonny in the slammer might be the final straw for Drew. In the end, Sonny shot FBI agent John Jagger-Cates because he felt attacked, and because he was going too far with him and his family. Why wouldn't Sonny or Jason do the same to Drew? A plot like this would not only be fascinating, but it would also provide Drew with an exciting way out, which appears to be the path GH is taking with this character. According to General Hospital spoilers, Harrison Chase may be considering moving to Seattle. After his marriage blows out, Chase might think about moving across the nation to live with Hamilton Finn and Violet Finn, so let's look at what he faces. Fans of GH are aware that Chase has been quite thrilled about the prospect of becoming a father and getting Brooke Lynn Quartermaine pregnant. That's why Chase's medical reports showing he was sterile were such a heartbreaking blow. For Chase and Brooke Lynn, who were eager to have their own biological kid, this has turned out to be a significant setback. Naturally, Chase is about to suffer yet another severe blow as a result of certain unspoken secrets. When Brooke Lynn was a teenager, she became pregnant and gave birth to her first kid. Brooke Lynn is certain she had a child with Dante Falconeri, even though she is unsure if the child was a boy or a girl. Chase will ultimately learn more about that amazing news, and it will eventually be revealed that Giovanni Gio Palmieri is the child that Dante and Brooke Lynn had. It can be hard for Chase to watch Brooke Lynn and Dante become close to Gio as his biological parents. If Brooke Lynn depends on Chase to conceive, it will serve as a reminder that Dante already gave birth to the only child she will ever have. Chase might become more and more certain that he is not the man Brooke Lynn needs. Chase might think that Brooke Lynn ought to get back together with Dante and possibly have more kids with him. In any case, once Brooke Lynn and Dante begin their attempts to establish a more meaningful relationship with Gio, Chase will feel alienated. With everything he's been through, Chase might start to want for his own familial bond. Chase may even consider going to Seattle, where Finn and Violet reside, rather than Port Charles. If nothing else, Chase might choose to come see his brother and niece, allowing Finn and Violet to greet him while he attempts to recover from all the shocks. Stay in to see whether Chase receives any family support, as our GH predictions suggest that he has some difficult times ahead of him. According to General Hospital spoilers, once everything goes south, Chase and Brooke Lynn's marriage might be in jeopardy. Have you watched the General Hospital episode from today? Secrets are a recurring theme. Everyone seems to be the target of someone else's deceit, and everyone has one. Let's review what transpired in Port Charles today. At General Hospital, Curtis Ashford ran into his wife, Portia Robinson, close to the elevators. Brad Cooper breaks off their embrace to request permission to depart early. After beginning to reprimand him, Portia made the decision to let him go. Curtis wants to talk to Brad because he doesn't trust him at all, but Portia persuades him that it's not necessary. Nevertheless, Curtis goes up to Brad and cautions him that his family shouldn't suffer as a result of his connections. He sees Brad and congratulates him on his new workout regimen as he and Carly Spencer head out to dinner. When Brad begins to babble, Carly steps in to yank Lucas away. 4 is a crowd but 2 is company. When Jack Brennan drops by Bobby's, Jocelyn Jacks asks how Germany was right away. She informs him that while she does not currently have any leads on Cyrus Renault's murder of Dex Heller, she will locate one. When she informs him that she entered Cyrus' home and discovered nothing, Jack speculates that the lack of proof might indicate that Cyrus is operating from a different location. Additionally, he advises her to exercise patience since what she needs to uncover will eventually become apparent. When Carly and Lucas get there, they see Joss and Jack seated together. After Joss and Lucas part ways, Carly gets down with Jack and requests that he keep what transpired in Germany a secret from Joss. Brennan appears rather preoccupied as they reminisce about their time together. Recap of General Hospital. All except Willow are in the gatehouse. Brooke Lynn Quartermaine went in the hopes of seeing Willow at the gatehouse. Rather, Wiley and Amelia leave toys in the main house, and Gio Palmieri shows up with them. She describes what transpired with Willow, and how she feels as though she has now exacerbated the situation. Gio informs her that Willow probably made the decision to leave because it was in her best interests. He warns BLQ that even if you are not at odds with her family, dealing with them may be extremely taxing. When Tracy Quartermaine shows up, she inquires as to whether Willow has accepted the terms. Willow left, and Tracy is bringing in the lawyers. Brooke Lynn informs her. Recap of General Hospital. Dante discovers Cyrus is the target. Dante Falconeri and Harrison Chase are discussing Sam's case. Dante claims that he is pleading with Chase to identify the person of interest since he knows who it is. They quarrel until Rocco Falconeri overhears Chase telling Dante that Cyrus is the primary suspect. Dante is aware that seeking retribution would put Sam's justice at jeopardy. Tracy interrupts their conversation to inform the boys that Drew managed to visit Willow at the gatehouse. They agree to walk the property boundary when she asks them to explain how it happened. Danny Morgan is informed by Alexis Davis that his mother's death is now thought to have been a murder rather than a tragic accident. As his grandmother tells that Sam received a digitalis injection, Danny takes a seat. Danny is informed by Molly Lansing and Christina Corinthos that there are further victims, and that their only option at this time is to wait for further details. Danny queries whether Jason Morgan, his father, is aware of it yet. When they decline, Danny explains that Jason must be notified after he gets back from Germany. Alexis and Christina carry on their conversation as Molly drives Danny back to the Quartermaines. While Christina believes Danny's inquiry about Jason was a typical response, Alexis is concerned by Jason's response. When Danny gets back to the Quartermaines, he connects with Rocco, who informs him that Cyrus is the suspect and that he also knows that Sam was murdered. Willow Corinthos and Martin Gray are on the phone, and he is telling her that he understands her need to leave the Quartermaine estate. Lois Cerullo is at the door, pleading for his assistance, and he hangs up. She assures him that the problem with Willow is unrelated to her predicament. After she pays his retainer fee, Marty promises her that everything will remain private. She gives him the money and explains that it's related to something that happened 20 years ago. She reveals that Brooke Lynn gave birth to a child 20 years ago, without Dante ever realizing he was the father. I need to make sure the family never finds out, she says, explaining the intricate family tree. According to Lois, Brooke Lynn was unaware that the baby had been placed with a family acquaintance. She believed it to be an anonymous private adoption. A knock on the door interrupts their conversation, and Tracy is furious that Willow is taking the kids back to her mother's house. After they stop arguing verbally, Lois persuades Tracy to accompany her. Willow is relocating to her mother's home in the meanwhile. She is always welcome, Nina Reeves assures her. Willow claims she was relieved to meet someone who doesn't despise her, even though she knows she should have turned Drew Quartermaine away when he arrived at the gatehouse. She then became aware of how much she still cared for her husband, Michael Corinthos, after he left. Nina tells her that she is happy to be there, and that she can now begin to plan her next course of action for the children and herself. Naturally, it's Drew who knocks on Nina's door. Drew threatens to take Willow and the children to Washington, D.C., while Willow makes rounds with Nina. Nina informs Drew that Willow was discussing how much she missed Michael prior to his arrival. Returning, Willow informs Drew that his visit to the gatehouse was inappropriate because she is still dealing with the dissolution of her marriage. He claims that since their connection is now public knowledge, they can be together if he so chooses. When Nina comes back to her living room, she finds Willow and Drew kissing. Then she takes up the phone and calls Carly, saying that it's time for them to deal with Drew, their shared issue. Recap of General Hospital. Both Lois and Brooke Lynn are uneasy. Lois comes back to wrap up her conversation with Martin. She informs him that neither of them is aware that Gio is the child that Brooke Lynn gave up. She explains that the whole family will be torn apart if the truth is revealed. As Dante and Chase arrive, Brooke Lynn and Gio remain at the gatehouse. They clarified that they were given a tour of the property by Tracy. They also talk about how things would have turned out much more amicably for everyone if Willow had simply been more honest. Both Dante and Chase concur that secrets ruin lives as Brooke Lynn writhes. Drew launches war on Sonny and Jason signs own death warrant? The power struggle in Port Charles is about to take a shocking turn as Drew Kane makes a bold move that could have dire consequences. For years, Sonny Corinthos and Jason Morgan have ruled the criminal underworld, striking fear into anyone who dared to challenge them. But Drew, determined to carve out his own path, is ready to defy the status quo. In doing so, is he signing his own death warrant? Drew's growing frustration. Drew has spent years living in the shadow of his twin brother, Jason, and the formidable Sonny Corinthos. Although he has tried to stay out of the mob business, recent events have pushed him toward an inevitable confrontation. With his military training and unwavering determination, Drew believes he has what it takes to take on Sonny and Jason. But is he underestimating the deep roots of their power? A new player in the game. Drew's motivation for going after Sonny and Jason isn't just about power. It's personal. Having spent years as a pawn in other people's games, he is done being manipulated. He wants control not only over his own life but also over Port Charles. His vision of a town free from mob influence may be noble, but is it realistic? Sonny has maintained his iron grip for decades, and Jason, his most trusted enforcer, is always ready to eliminate any threat. Drew's strategy a fatal mistake? Taking on Sonny and Jason requires more than just determination. It requires strategy, alliances, and careful execution. Drew begins by rallying key figures who share his vision, including law enforcement officials and rival factions tired of living under Sonny's rule. However, making an enemy out of Port Charles's most powerful man is a dangerous game, and Drew may be playing with fire. To weaken Sonny, Drew targets his business empire. By cutting off key revenue streams and disrupting shipments, he aims to destabilize Sonny's organization. But Sonny isn't one to take threats lightly, and Jason is always watching from the shadows, prepared to eliminate anyone who dares to stand against them. Sonny and Jason's response, retaliation, is inevitable. If history has taught us anything, it's that Sonny and Jason do not tolerate betrayal or threats. Drew may have the element of surprise initially, but Sonny's influence runs deep. With loyal allies in law enforcement, politics, and the criminal world, Sonny has more resources than Drew can imagine. Jason, ever the loyal soldier, is prepared to go to any lengths to protect the empire they built. As tensions escalate, Sonny sends a clear message: Drew's defiance will not go unanswered. His businesses are targeted, his allies begin to disappear, and the walls start closing in. Drew's military background gives him an edge in combat, but even he knows that Sonny's ability to manipulate people and turn the tide in his favor is unmatched. Betrayals and unexpected twists. In his fight against Sonny, Drew must also watch his back for potential betrayals. Not everyone who aligns with him will stay loyal, especially when the stakes are high. It's only a matter of time before someone close to Drew switches sides, feeding information to Sonny or Jason. Adding to the chaos, Carly Corinthos may also play a crucial role. With her complicated history with both Sonny and Drew, she could influence the outcome of this war. Will she side with her longtime partner Sonny? Or will she see Drew as the lesser evil and throw her support behind him? A fight to the death? As Drew's war against Sonny and Jason intensifies, the question remains: how far is he willing to go? Sonny and Jason have survived countless threats, outmaneuvering enemies who thought they could take them down. If Drew underestimates their resilience, he could pay the ultimate price. With tensions at an all-time high, Port Charles braces for an all-out war. If Drew makes one wrong move, he may not live to see the end of his revolution. Will he emerge victorious? Or is he walking straight into a death trap? Only time will tell who will reign supreme, and who will fall in the ultimate battle for power. Chase's Seattle move. Joins Finn and Violet after marriage blows up? Harrison Chase has endured his fair share of heartbreak and turmoil over the years. The beloved detective has faced professional setbacks, personal betrayals, and family drama that would drive any man to his breaking point. However, the latest devastation in his life might be enough to push him toward a fresh start. Could Chase leave behind Port Charles and relocate to Seattle to be with his brother, Dr. Hamilton Finn, and his niece Violet? If his marriage crumbles, this move might be the emotional reset he needs. Chase's struggles in Port Charles. Chase has built a life in Port Charles, balancing his role as a detective with his deeply rooted sense of loyalty to those he loves. Despite the many challenges thrown his way, he has always managed to persevere. However, relationships have often been a source of pain for him. From his complicated romance with Willow Tate to the betrayal he suffered at the hands of his former fiancée, Chase has experienced heartbreak more than once. Now, with his marriage on the verge of collapse, he might be questioning everything. Whether it's due to trust issues, external pressures, or the inability to sustain a healthy relationship, Chase's union appears to be falling apart. With nothing tying him down, he may start considering his options elsewhere. Finn and Violet. A built-in support system. One of the biggest factors influencing Chase's potential move to Seattle is his relationship with his brother Finn. The two have had their ups and downs, but at the end of the day they share a strong bond. Finn has played a crucial role in Chase's life, especially after their initial family struggles and paternity revelations. If Chase finds himself at rock bottom, Finn might encourage him to join him in Seattle for a fresh start. Another compelling reason for the move is Violet, Finn's young daughter. Chase has always adored his niece and has formed a close bond with her. If his marriage ends, spending time with Violet could provide him with the emotional healing he desperately needs. Being around family, especially one as innocent and full of life as Violet, might remind him of what truly matters. A career change on the horizon? If Chase does decide to leave Port Charles, what does that mean for his career? As a dedicated detective, he has always been committed to justice, but relocating would mean starting over. Seattle could offer him new opportunities in law enforcement, possibly even a fresh role in a different branch of the justice system. Perhaps he could transition into federal work, or take on a leadership position at a new precinct. Alternatively, Chase might consider stepping away from law enforcement altogether. After everything he's been through, he could find himself questioning whether he wants to continue down this stressful and dangerous path. Seattle might be the perfect place for him to explore new career opportunities, whether in security, private investigation, or an entirely different field. The emotional toll of leaving Port Charles. While a move to Seattle might seem like an ideal escape, it wouldn't come without its own set of challenges. Chase has built deep connections in Port Charles, and saying goodbye to those relationships wouldn't be easy. His best friends, colleagues, and even his remaining family members would feel his absence.